Episode 120, Ironman 70.3 Boulder with Rachel Olson. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. We will hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in it for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the pursuit of the perfect race. Today I have the pleasure of talking to my friend Rachel Olson about her recent race experience at Ironman Boulder 70.3, where she had a time of 4 hours, 28 minutes, and 4 seconds. Rachel's been doing triathlons for many years, and this is her first year as a professional triathlete. And she is being coached by the wonderful and world-class coach Siri Lindley with Team Sirius Tri Club. This race took place on August 4th, 2018, with the temperature on race day being 66 and rising to 91, and the temperature being 70 degrees. Welcome back to the show, Rachel. I look forward to hearing about your race experience at Boulder 70.3.
Hey, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, what made you want to do this race?
I did this race last year. Obviously love Boulder. Love the race itself, and this year was a little bit more special because I've made my home here now the past month, and so it was kind of a hometown race kind of feel, roll out of bed into, onto the race site that's only, about 10 minutes away from where I'm living right now. And so that's what, of course, made me want to race it, and just the caliber of athletes that were on the start line.
Okay. So going into this race, how was your training?
Probably the biggest build block I've had in my training so far, just being here in Boulder and being able to get on the road a lot more. So it was definitely a big push for, this build going into this race.
Okay. So going into this race, what was your longest swim, bike, and runs?
Longest swim, I believe was, just below 7,000 meters. Then the longest bike was just over 100 miles. My first 100 ever. Finally hit it. Longest run, I think, was around 14 miles.
Okay. Were there a lot of breaks in training?
Yes. Yeah, quite a few.
Now, how much was your average training week going into this, as far as hours?
Yeah, ranging from about 17 to 21 hours for me.
Okay. How was your recovery on a day-to-day basis?
Lots of food, legs up, trying to just foam roll, keep everything stretched out, taking naps when I can, just making sure I'm getting, everything in my body that I need to, getting that protein right away, making sure I'm, keeping the muscles loose and not tight.
Okay. Now, were you doing a lot of strength training going into this race?
Not a whole lot, really. I was doing quite a bit more volume on the bike and on the run here. So, not as much strength, about 2 times a week though. Okay. And then, core strength sessions about 3 times a week. Okay.
Did you have a rest day every week?
Almost every week. Usually on Mondays is my rest day. So, but it was, a few, every other week.
Nice. Now, going into this race, when you're doing your 100-mile bike rides and all of your long training sessions, what kind of nutrition were you using?
I used the F2C glycodurance on the bike, mix that in with some electrolytes so that I've got plenty of salt because I'm a pretty heavy sweater. We usually stop, once for our long rides, and we'll get some coffee and, maybe some bread or, a cinnamon roll or something.
Wow. So if you take a look at your training from objective standpoint, What workouts did you do that gave you the confidence to give your best on race day?
Definitely the amount of climbing that I've been doing here is one of the things that I think has definitely made me stronger as an athlete in general, just because I'm not used to doing such heavy climbs on the bike, and just doing that strength, consistently every week has just really helped my confidence and myself as a cyclist, because that is, my least favorite of the three and definitely my weakest. But I think that in itself has really bumped me up in my confidence levels on the bike and what I can achieve.
Okay. Now it sounds like you have confidence going into the race because of the consistency in training versus one specific workout.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's no one workout I think that, is going to make me, has defined me as a person. Every single session here with Siri is, there's something special about each one. And just the consistency of, the swims, the bikes, the run is really what has been so solid for me.
Okay. So what's it like training with Siri and Beck up there?
It's intense. They are, all out all the time, of course, just the energy that they bring to the table every single day is, something that pumps you up to get through the hard sessions. And then, on the easier sessions, even though if your body hurts on the easier sessions, she makes you feel good about yourself. So it's really wonderful. It's very difficult. I think having the group dynamic has really helped me a lot, because you kind of push yourself in ways that you don't really understand when you're alone all the time.
Okay. And being a part of the team, what's that like?
It's an awesome squad. Everybody is super close. There's days where we just roll out from swim and, go grab coffee and brunch and hang out for, however long we want to, really. But it's a really tight-knit group, very close group. And it's, we share all the ups and downs of our training. And I think that's what creates, such a tight-knit bond that, our group has versus some of the others.
Okay. Now, going into this race, what was your taper like?
It was about, about a week-long taper, a pretty standard taper for me. I don't do huge tapers just because the longer the taper for me, the more likely my legs are going to start feeling fatigued by the end of the week. So, but it was about a week long, still doing, some good swim sessions, with some quick stuff, always mixing in, shorter stuff with, some pickups to keep the legs, ready to go.
Okay. Now, did you have an ideal race day meal that you wanted to have the day before the race to prepare you?
I'm usually pretty fluid on that. I usually do like to have, a healthy like wheat pasta or veggie pasta with chicken and a red sauce. And it was kind of a hectic couple of days before the race, just dealing with some stuff on my bike and my parents coming into town. So trying to get all that together. So I had a different meal than I would have before, but I've got a really solid gut that, can really handle quite a bit. So, that didn't hurt me at all for race day.
Okay. If you think of your mental aspect going into this race versus the previous races, being that this isn't your first pro race anymore, mm-hmm. and you've already gotten your kind of butterflies out of the system, and now this is like a hometown field advantage for you, what was your mindset going into this race?
Yeah, it was the hometown kind of feel was like, I didn't think I was racing even up in, 2 days before the race. I was like, am I really actually racing this? So, I was nervous for sure, just because I knew there were, some really great athletes, but, I was just kind of excited to get out there and race again. Like I said, I was a little hectic with the situation on my bike. There were some things that came up, last minute that needed to be fixed, and had to ride a totally different wheel. So I was kind of freaking out on that front. And but just taking it with what I could, and of course my bike did wonderful. And but I was just excited. I was ready to race again.
Okay. So what happened with your bike or wheel? What happened there?
Rear wheel, the hub was stripped out, so definitely not safe to ride. I ended up having to ride a different wheel. Thankfully, Matt Miller, he had a wheel for me to use, and it wasn't as deep as my wheel, so that kind of stinks. I would have rather had a deeper wheel, but it rolled great, didn't have any problems with it. So and just some general bike build stuff, my front derailleur was a little off, my front brake was a little off, and just it gave me a peace of mind though, knowing it was all fixed up once it was done. So once I got it in my hands, I was so relieved that I knew it was, tip top shape, ready to go.
Good. So what kind of bike are you using for this race?
The QR that I got at the beginning of the year, my baby blue. So it's the PR6, not the disc one, just the regular brakes.
Okay. Now, did you bring your bike the morning of the race, or did you check it the day before?
Yes, brought it the morning of the race, which, for us, we always usually do anyway, but as pros, and, thank goodness, especially for today, or for, the race day, the night before, we had horrendous winds whip through the race site that tore up the expo area, tore up Swim Start area, bikes pushed into each other, problems like that. So definitely brought it the day of.
Wow. Well, that's good that you did that. How much sleep do you think you got the night before the race?
It was, I think, a solid 8 hours. I was able to wake up a little bit later since I was closer to the race site, and so I got a solid, I think it was 8 hours almost.
Okay. Now, whenever you got up the morning of the race, what's your race day morning ritual like?
I always start with my F2C Farmer Greens and Ultra Durance mix. So I mix that up just to kind of get my body in the right state of mind for what's coming up next. And then so I mix that, you wait 20 minutes, and then start your food. And so I eat pretty heavy the morning of, compared to most professional triathletes, actually. So I have a cinnamon raisin bagel with some crunchy peanut butter, a little bit of Nutella, and some banana slices on that. And that's, and then coffee, of course, which is necessary.
Right. So you get a transition. How much PSI do you use in your wheels?
I use latex tubes, so I usually pump in 100 PSI, and by the time that I actually get to my bike, it's usually down around the 90 range, because latex, does leak like that. So that's the PSI that I run.
Okay. Now, you get to transition, aside from racking your bike, putting your nutrition on there, what else are you doing in transition?
Just generally chatting, just keeping, myself moving, making sure I'm not getting into my head, making conversation, just keeping things light, making sure I've got everything in check, but just generally keeping myself in the right frame of mind so that I'm not freaking out.
Okay. I saw you with some headphones on in transition this year.
Oh yeah. I always, I've got to listen to some pump up music in the background. And then of course I get to a point that I would like to drown everything out for a little bit. So, I'd be social for a little bit, and then I go jog, and put my headphones blasting so that I don't talk to anyone. And that's just kind of my pump up, get ready for the day ritual. After I got everything in transition, I can just shut my mind off and be like, yes, this is it.
That's awesome. Now, you got there, being that the storm came and lowered the temperature, y'all were able to use a wetsuit this year, right?
Yes. And in the pro meeting the day before, we were pretty much set that we were not going to have a wetsuit, but they told us, just bring it just in case. So I brought it, thankfully, but, we really were not expecting it to drop because it dropped, 3 degrees overnight, basically.
Wow. And for this race, you're using your Wonder Woman kit.
Yes, I am.
Nice.
My signature look.
I think everybody can recognize you on course for that, and apparently it caught a trend on the Women for Tri group, and it just like caught on like wildfire.
Yes, yeah, it's really exciting that so many people were excited about it, and we're getting a ton of kits out there, and I just love that so many women were excited about this kit and ordering it. And I love it because it's a fun kit. It makes, I know I've mentioned this before to you, it just makes race day that much better when somebody's like, oh, Wonder Woman, heck yeah. So if, other people can feel the same way in that kit whenever they race, then that just makes me happy.
Great. So you get to the swim start, the men go off, and then the women are about to leave. How is this emotion for you at this point?
Well, I found myself with Ellie. I train with Ellie every single day in the water. We're about the same speed. I knew that we wanted to line up together. That was kind of our plan going in. So, Ellie, myself, and Paula Finley were, at the water's edge together, kind of just planning out which line we wanted to take and just kind of keeping ourselves chatting so that we're not, like I said, you want to get that air in your lungs and not be so just serious at the start line, just kind of taking in the moment. So we were just kind of chatting, generally kind of a little anxious because 5 minutes actually passes by so slow when you're waiting there, because, their gun goes off and you immediately want to get to your spot and then you're like, crap, I've got to stand here for 5 minutes.
Right. So the gun goes off for the women. How's your swim go?
It went really well. I'm pretty happy with it. Got out ahead, got into the front group. It was myself, I think Paul Finley, Katie Evans, and Jenny Seymour. We were all in a group of 4 together. So, I stuck with them, on feet, on hips, just kind of generally cruising along with them. We had a very, solid pace, I would say, throughout the whole swim. And I think it turned out to be a really great swim for me.
Okay. Now, did you have any trouble with sighting at all?
No, it wasn't bad. I mean, there was one section when you take your first turn, it was kind of into the sunrise, but, having somebody to swim on was a little bit easier, but the turn buoys are so large that, that section going into the sun was really not too bad.
Okay. Did you use tinted goggles?
Yes, I use polarized actually.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you get out of the swim, and then do you take advantage of wetsuit strippers and then get on the bike? What does that look like?
No, just running, taking the wetsuit off as you get to your bike because, for pros, I know in Europe, you're not allowed to use wetsuit strippers. So,
Really?
so for us, it's better to just practice the taking it off yourself and, running with, pulling it down as you're running and getting everything mentally ready really as you get to your bike.
Okay. Now you get to your bike and head out. Do you have a strategy of how you wanted to attack this bike ride?
Stay at the dang front. I wanted to hold on to my position coming out of the water as best I could. I know that, like I said, the bike is my weakest of the 3. And, the first couple races of the year, I just got smashed, right at the beginning. So, I'm really learning to kind of put myself out there so that I can put my head down and stay in the front. That definitely didn't happen. I lost the front pack, but my legs didn't feel great, honestly, on the bike and the run all day. But of course I gave it whatever I could. So I dropped off the front group, and there was about 4 of us or 3 of us really that kind of stayed in the same general range through most of the ride, obviously keeping our distance, safe distance that we're definitely not drafting. But so I was sitting about 7th and 8th, I think, most of the way on the bike. And the goal was to just keep as many people behind me as possible throughout the entire bike ride.
Okay. Now, how did the first 10 miles go for you on the bike ride?
I actually was struggling a little bit, especially on the first half. I was trying really hard at the very end of the swim to try to beat out Jenny Seymour out of the water. And I think I pushed quite a bit harder than I really expected to. And I came out of the water feeling a little sick. Even my mom said that I'm running into my bike, and she's like, oh, she doesn't look too good. So I was like, oh God, just trying to get myself steady into my pace, settle into my cadence. And at that point, trying to kind of get everything settled so I can start taking in my nutrition, and get that rolling. So it was a little bit of a struggle, but, I just tried to settle into where I needed to be, get my head down, start on my nutrition.
Okay. Now, whenever you got on the bike, were you uncomfortable on the bike at all?
No, my position is, I think really solid, and saddle is super great. The ISM that I've been riding is awesome, and I love it. So sitting in my aero position has not been a problem.
Okay. Now, did you use socks on the bike ride?
Yes, I use Fettermutt socks, and I wear them through the bike and the run. And the tall socks, just trying to act like a cyclist, to be a little bit faster.
Now, I mean, that's going to take at least maybe 10 to 15 seconds to put on there. And that's 10 to 15 seconds you could have had a little bit faster transition. Is the socks worth the benefit?
I mean, I'm going to put the socks on somewhere. I'd be putting socks on the run. So, everybody, I think nowadays has really been using socks for the half distance. So, I mean, it doesn't take too long to just roll them on and go. And, really, like I said, most people, and in the pro field are using socks for the half distance. And I just cut that time from the swim to the bike instead of, doing it from the bike to the run.
Okay. Now, as far as the bike goes, is there anything you'd want somebody to know that hasn't done this bike course before, that's experienced it in 70.3 distances?
The bike course was a little different this year, but the biggest thing about the Boulder course, I think, is that it is a really fast course. There are a couple, solid climbs on it, but the biggest thing for the Boulder 70.3 in particular is that people use, really push so hard on the bike. And it's easy to push hard on that bike. But they don't realize how hard that run is out there. It's a pretty flat run, but most of the time like you said, it hit about 91. It was hot, and there's no shade on that run. A lot of it's on gravel, and, people tend to have a really hard time on that run course after biking so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
so I definitely
go ahead.
I would say just definitely don't blast yourself on that bike course.
Okay. So don't overbike.
Yeah. Especially for that one.
Now, how well did you execute your bike strategy?
Like I said, my legs were not exactly where I wanted them to be. I was pushing all I could, and looking back at my file, I wasn't really happy with it, but, there's nothing I could do except for give it my best. So I'm very happy with how I, handled it. Just pushing as hard as I could, within, what my body would give me. So, on this day, it wasn't 100%, but, I was giving everything that it would give, and I kept a pretty solid position throughout, and that was what I wanted. And just trying to stay as close to the top as I could going into the run.
Okay, so it sounds like you weren't really looking too much at data during the race, but you were you were going off of like your perceived effort. You were going off of what you were feeling and knowing that you were doing your best at that point in the race. And then afterwards, a day or two later, you might look at the data and go, well, it might not be the best, but I know because I was doing the best I could in the moment, that's the best I could bring. And you're able to not be so hard on yourself because hey, look, this is the best I could have done. Like that's all I had. And you weren't hung up on numbers or data or a power number, and you could actually relate to your body.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, something that, working with Siri is, we don't stare at computers all day. We don't, wear watches in the pool. So, we know what our body is doing. I've become so accustomed to, what X, effort feels like. So it's, I don't need to sit there and stare at it through the whole race and just think about it the whole time.
Okay. Now, are you doing anything to prepare for the run on the last part of the bike ride?
Definitely making sure that I am on top of hydration, especially hydration and electrolytes. Cause like I said, it was a warm day, and I know that, that run course can be, there's pretty good distance between the aid stations, and, not a lot of shade. So I was really trying to make sure that I was staying on top of my nutrition and hydration. And that was the biggest focus going into the run. But, I try to stay in the moment of exactly what I'm doing at that time. And at the time was, I've got to stay up here in this bike.
Right. What was your nutrition plan for the bike ride?
I did, one bottle of the F2C, the glycodurance with electrolytes in it. And then I usually do a half bottle of just like a regular hydro mix with water, and then it's like an electrolyte drink mix with water, and do like half of half in that. And then in my front bottle, I do just straight water that I refill at aid stations.
Okay. And whenever you got to T2, had you executed your nutrition plan as well as you wanted to?
Yes, I did. I probably would have liked maybe a little bit more water. At the last aid station, I smacked like 3 bottles of water, and I didn't get one into the last one. So I didn't, and I didn't have a place to stow it. So I only had about 5 to 10 seconds to pour as much water into my front bottle, dump some on me before I could toss it. So, but overall, I mean, the nutrition side of things, I was way better off, I think, than my last race.
Okay. Now you get to T2. How does T2 go for you?
This backpack of riders had kind of started to come up on me, so I was a little frantic, I guess you could say, trying to make sure I wasn't falling too far behind. But I felt good coming off the bike. I mean, my run legs didn't feel great, but mental state, I was ready to fight. So, I just wanted to kind of get out on the run and start picking people off as best I could. 'Cause that's usually how my run plan goes, is try to catch up where I lost.
Right. Now on the bike ride, you had roughly, I really suck at math, but I want to say it's close to 50 males pass you on the bike ride.
I didn't even feel like that, honestly. I mean, they started pretty far back. So, I only had probably about maybe a dozen men actually passed me. Cause like I said, they started the guys 10 minutes back.
Wow.
Yeah. Or they started the waves, or they did a rolling start actually one at a time into the water. So, that spread it out quite a bit for us, which is good because it really did not clog up our race, especially on the bike.
Okay. I only say that because between the bike and the run, you end up passing nearly 20 people, and it had to be guys, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
a lot of them blew up, like I said.
Yes. So you get on the run. How's the first mile or so on the run go for you?
Absolutely terrible. I felt
Really?
Yeah, I felt awful. I was not sure how it was gonna go. I was a little nervous, but I just said, stick on somebody's shoulder, start your, nutrition plan through the aid stations, and quick feet, get your head down, and just perfect form and go. And so, I usually most of the time my first 2 miles are not great, but this time, my legs were definitely not great, but I just wanted to kind of keep myself in check. It's the first 2 miles. You have 13 miles. So I just wanted to be sure that I was in the right state of mind, ready to get, going.
Okay. Now, were you experiencing any cramping or GI issues or anything like that?
Nope, no cramping, no stomach issues. It was just straight up, my legs were just, it was one of those days. But yeah, everything else was super solid. So.
Okay. Now, how was the support on the course?
It's really good, especially because you have, it's a huge triathlon mecca. So, you get a lot of, kind of your training buddies and, the triathletes who aren't racing out there on the course. And, there are little parts that are kind of barren, but, you've got people riding and running just, on their daily rides and runs around the area. So it was, it keeps you in a good mental state, especially when there's some parts of the run that are pretty sucky.
Right, because the back half, if I remember right, this is a looped course. You do 2 loops. Mm-hmm. And then on the back stretch, there's like nothing out there. It's just this gravel road in the sun, no shade, and it's just you in the road.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a solid 2 miles of like nothing. And, thankfully one of my friends from South Africa, he was, up at the top, age group positions. And, we started running together, and it was on that first lap where I wasn't feeling great. And, so he kind of kept me in the right state of mind. He's like, let's just go, it's a long run. These people are going to have a hard time. So let's just keep on it. And I was like, okay, man. So I ran with him through, that 2-3 miles that were just, that barren, just nothing out there. There's like station in that area. And that's about all the support you get besides, like I said, people riding their bikes up and down. And I know, the Big Sexy team has a tent out there, and, they're always on the corner, but you pass that corner just too fast and the music is gone instantly. Wow.
Now, what was your nutrition plan for the run, being that it was going to be so hot? How did you prepare for that?
Usually, I take 3 gels with me. And then, I load on the bike pretty heavily just because I know I can handle it. So I don't need a whole lot on the run. So I really focus on, water and ice, take in water, put ice in my hat and in my suit. And then if I feel like it, I usually throw in some like Gatorade and Coke, just like little splashes here and there. Just to kind of keep a little pep in my step. And then I do, some of the base salt on the run. So, especially for a day like that, that's a lot hotter than normal.
Okay. What was the funniest thing that you saw on the run course?
The funniest?
Yeah.
Whew. Oh, goodness. You know, you always ask me this and I never know. I think it's just because I have my head down just trying to go.
Did you see Siri out there doing anything?
Yeah, she was out there. You know, she was here and there running around. Of course, we had 6 athletes, you know, racing that day, which for us, you know, that's a huge group. So she was, you know, bouncing back and forth trying to, and, you know, Ellie won. So she definitely had to be at the finish line for that. So she was there. But just like the crowd towards the finish line was a lot better. You know, that area was a lot more pepped up. So, that's always fun to go through that.
So what was the best part of the run for you?
Once I hit I think it was like the 3rd or 4th aid station, about mile 4 to 5, I just kind of just went through the aid station and, all of a sudden caught like a whiff of just fresh air and, just went. And, from there, I felt so much better. I mean, yeah, my legs still felt like crap, but, I just felt, you know, something carry me. And, so that like put me in a whole different mental state. You know, I was just pumped up, ready to go. Let's run some people down. And that kind of just was the best part of the run, really.
Nice. Now, whenever you got to the last 2 miles of the run course, how was that?
A little bit of a struggle. You know, the last 2 miles of that course, you go through some pretty heavy gravel sections. They're a little bit rough, you know, just trying to find like the right path. But, you know, at that point, your legs are starting to get fatigued. You're just trying to carry yourself. There's a pretty long stretch, like across the dam area there's nobody out there. So it's just trying to keep your head down, you know, listening for what's going on at the finish line to kind of pep you up. But at that point, you know, I'm just quick feet. Let's drive. Let's get home.
Right. The last 800 yards of the race. Tell me about that. How was that experience?
Oh, it was great. You know, I was super excited. You know, just to have the day that I did with how I felt. And I had, you know, my parents came into town. I had a friend who I worked with in Texas who just moved here, and she was there with her family to spectate. And just knowing I had like all of my teammates and Siri and Beck out there, the finish line was definitely a happy moment, you know, going through that, knowing that I had everybody there. So it was fun.
You're talking about Kiersey?
No, she doesn't do triathlons.
Oh, okay.
No, I just worked with her.
Oh, okay. So after you crossed the finish line, what'd you get to do next?
First thing I did was hug Siri, actually.
Really?
She was right there at the finish line, cause they had I heard it as I was running in, they had just done, the women's podium. So she was standing right there. So went up to her and she was just super excited. And, my parents had been further along down the chute and had walked over, but she was already like at the very end. So she was like the first person I saw.
Wow. After you crossed the finish line, hugged Siri, and you kind of got your bearings about you, how was your recovery process for the next hour or two?
Oh, I mean, just trying to get myself to food. My legs were pretty trashed. My feet were actually, unfortunately pretty trashed. I wanted to just rip my shoes off. I was, you know, willing to walk barefoot over gravel than wear my shoes like another minute. So just trying to get to the food, banana pizza, had a freaking awesome cookie. And then just getting water, and hanging around with some of my teammates for a little bit before, cause I did head back to the house, you know, pretty quick before coming back up.
Okay. Now, what's something that you learned from this experience that you'd want to pass on to someone who hasn't done this race before, but is pretty experienced in the 70.3 distance?
Really just know your limits for sure, you know, especially like I said on the bike. know how to manage that, and definitely take your time through aid stations for sure. Especially at a race like this, they didn't have an aid station coming out of T2. So that was something that, if you were not on top of your nutrition plan, then a lot of people rely on that first aid station coming directly out of T2. And for this, you had to run, a mile before getting there. But really just, enjoying the moment. And if something bad does go wrong, or if you're not feeling 100%, I could have mentally been in my head and had a terrible race just because my legs hurt. But, I took what I could, and, from there you snowball effect into a positive direction once you're like, yeah, okay, I may not feel like I want to, but I've got pretty solid legs. I've got strong legs. And then just taking that and making sure you're enjoying, what's around you. And, when you see people, acknowledge them, and, that always kind of helps the mental state as well.
Okay. So it sounds like that you learned how to be objective with your own thoughts, and learn how to say, okay, hey, that's a negative thought I just had, and I'm going to actually make a positive thought and focus more on this positive thought and create a positive mindset, which will give you a better race. Is that right?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's something that we practice every day. And it really helps to get you through those tough moments, and to help drive you to a better race in general. Okay.
Now, if we look back at your training before this race, how well prepared were you going into this race?
Oh, very. I think probably the most prepared I think I've been all year, just because of all the fitness that I've gained through the past 4 months in general. But, the big training block that I did leading up to this is just going to help me further down the line. I just know that my fitness is building so much from here.
Okay. So how could Ironman have made your race experience better than what it was?
Oh, they did a great job. I know some of the guys that put on this race in particular, and they are very personable to everybody that they come across. And, they did not sleep the night before the race, just trying to clean everything up from that huge windstorm that they had. So they put everything out there, just kudos to them for, putting on such a good race with all the factors that were thrown in for them. They did a great job.
Wow, that's good. For first timers doing this race next year, what advice would you give the first timers?
Be prepared to have a hot day, probably. And the wind did pick up quite a bit on race day as well. Be prepared for any wind. Do some climbing on the bike, do some, big gear work to do some strength to prepare for some of the climbs on the bike. Like I said, take the bike probably a little bit easier than you might want to prepare yourself for the run. Maybe get used to running on a little bit of uneven gravel, just because it is a decently uneven surface through about 90% of that run. And those are probably the biggest takeaways, I think, for that, and having that nutrition down, making sure that, it's a pretty northern race, but like I said, it gets hot. So making sure your nutrition plan for a hot day.
Okay. We covered quite a bit about your race. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I actually don't think so. I think we covered about everything that I experienced from start to finish, and it was overall a good day, and I'm just excited for the next one now.
Nice. So what's next for you?
I believe I put my name on the start list for Santa Cruz, September 9th. So, hopefully going over to that one, in about, 3-4 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I really want to do that race. I really enjoy racing, and, cause on my plan, I thought about doing Augusta, and that's at the end of September, and I'd rather get another race in there before then.
So you're going to be doing Augusta for sure?
I'm not positive on that. Waco for sure, though.
Oh, Waco.
Yes.
I mean, so you'll be coming back to Texas for that, obviously.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I have to.
Nice. So what races are on your bucket list? We're going to be covering that because you haven't had that question yet.
No, I have not. Really, I just want to race in Europe. I would like to do Dubai as well. But I really just want to go over to Europe in general. An Ironman distance is definitely on my bucket list. Roth, of course, would be a bucket list for sure. But I just want to go to Europe in general. I've heard nothing but amazing things about how they put on races there and just the amount of support on the bike course and stuff that, people are always so pumped up. So, anything over there, I'd be more than happy.
Nice. So what do you think about the new way they're doing the slot allocation for the World Championships for the pros?
I haven't taken a huge amount of thought into it just because I'm not exactly there yet. But I mean, I think it's different. I mean, like I said, I haven't put a huge amount of thought into it just because it is not on my plan as of right now. But I think it could be good. I think it's pretty interesting.
I only asked that because you mentioned Europe and is the World Championships next year for the 70.3 is in Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Sorry. But yeah, that's the only thing that made me think of that. Now, you've already been on here a few times, so if you could put together an ideal race course to include weather conditions, what would you want to put together?
A non-wetsuit swim for sure. In a lake preferably. A bike course that includes a little bit of climbing, also with a little bit of flat in there. I like to climb. Not some huge ones, but a good solid mix of climbs and flats and maybe some fun, solid descents. And then on the run, I like, a little bit more challenging. Some maybe like rolling hills just because, like I said, my run is pretty strong. So I like to have a little bit more of a rolling hill situation on the run. But, I like a little bit of mix of paved and gravel just to break up, running on pavement for 100% of the run really is hard. But having a good mix of some hills in there with some pavement change would be my best, my best bet.
Okay. So how can athletes follow you?
Most often, or I'm most active on, my Instagram and my Facebook, page. So my Instagram is just Race, RACE, Olson, OLSON. And then my Facebook page, my public page is, Race Olson Athlete. So it's same thing as my Instagram, just athlete at the end. Like I said, most active on that, getting on my blog a little bit. I'm going to start trying to kind of update it with my daily life here in Boulder and the transition that I've made. And that's just raceolsonagain.blogspot.com. So those are the most common ones I'm on.
Nice. Well, Rachel, I just want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I look forward to talking to you and following you in the future at Santa Cruz and Augusta and even Waco.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, you have a good day, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you were able to learn something from today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to see pictures from this athlete's race, learn more about who I am, what I'm doing, or be on the show yourself to share your story, check out my website at CoachTerryWilson.com. Until next time, continue the pursuit.